Weird science
is the revolution.
The Flash, number 6, written by Simon Spurrier, with art by Mike Diodato Jr., Trish Mulvihill, and Hassan Otsmane Elhal. And we're going to have a weird little cool-down issue from where we left off, because it looks like Linda and Wally have themselves an activity date. We're just going to run around until they have to stop, because they got some uncoiled, gross things from sideways reality over there in old London town that they got to deal with. But they're not alone, because Barry Allen is already on the case. And pretty much you spend this issue trying to deal with the idea, like, you know, what's been wrong with Barry? Wally's an asshole because he never called to see what's wrong with Barry. And it's just this weird fight but ultimately, it just doesn't seem like it's Barry. It's this weird sideways continuum of, like, vibrations of reality that have taken him over to possibly be a conduit to bring back Eobard Thawne.
Yeah, and I think that by the end of this, and it's funny when you go like, hey, it's a cool-down issue, I'm like, I can't tell. I don't know.
I say the idea of a cooldown for where we start, just the idea, because even though Max Mercury is supposedly still stuck in a zombie sideways reality that we can't find, it's date night for him and Linda, because she's been depressed. She got some postpartum depression going on.
I like the idea, and it's exasperated by the idea that she's lost the Speed Force, so that's her bit of depression that we had before as well. That
she doesn't feel anything.
So in this, it is like you keep where it almost feels like Siceborough. He wants to tell the story of how Linda and Wally hate each other and they break up, but he knows he's not allowed, so he keeps jumping back and forth. It's like a tug of war where she sees the man that she loves so much, but she doesn't care about him. And then the next thing is, oh my God, she thinks he's the greatest thing ever, but doesn't really have any feelings. Like, what are you doing?
And it's such a weird idea to talk about it, because not even Linda of the Mind Talk, it's an overall narrator telling us what Linda's feeling at that point. And I actually wish it would have stuck to her feelings about, like, Wally West and the relationship in general, because then it becomes stuff like, distantly worried she's lost her mind. Linda makes the improbable observation that the newcomers smell like secrecy with a hint of cinnamon. I'm like, fuck you, I'm out.
Yeah, and that's twice. And in that, I had a list, and I was going to make the joke. Here are a couple things that you shouldn't write when you are writing The Flash. Even words where, I'm a dummy. I don't need word of the day. When you're reading something and it gets so crazy that I have to stop and go look something up, and I'm not going to. I'm just going to go with it. But the words innervated, bloviating. I'm like, I have never seen these words together like this, or these letters. And then you have, like you said, secrets, the stench of them surround her, and just a hint of cinnamon. Okay, yeah. I was hoping maybe
again, like you said, we used the cinnamon bit twice for whatever reason. Like, why is it important to us as a reader to think that the stillness, these possibly cosmic overwatchers that's going on with the vibrations of the sideways reality, who want to see things with the uncoiled and possibly things going on with Thawne later on? I honestly don't know their MO, but why is it important for us to know that there's a hint of cinnamon to their interaction with our world?
I just took that cinnamon with some stripper or something that was down the road. I tell you, it's just why would, and it's him trying
Smells
to be
like ass.
Trying to be funny, trying to be clever. Like, then I'm starting to think, because me and you talk about this, and I know it's feathers, but I'm like, is she having like a stroke or something? Like, is that what's happening?
Yeah,
oh, that's
it's burning feathers.
It's just a weird.
She can't say that because of stroke, so it comes out cinnamon.
I also thought that there was something in it where a lot of spy things that you end up finding out. This might be not real either. That if they poison something, they put cinnamon in it to mask that. So actually, if you taste cinnamon in something that shouldn't, you know it's poison. And maybe that's the play, that this is a poison reality. That's what I'm like. I think I'm thinking too much, or not thinking
because
at all.
Ultimately, whatever we're trying to do with the stillness now, we have to attract the arc angles to this whole thing. And they're afraid that if we have a binary conduit to the Speed Force, like a Barry and a Wally, that this might repel like them with such complexities. And I'm just sitting here, you ain't seen half of it yet if you think they're only binary components to this whole thing, because they got a lot of speedsters that are attracted to the Speed Force right now. So I'm like, I don't even know what you guys are even trying to do. Even when, Mr. Terrific tells Wally about an incident they have to go off to and save, where then Barry outruns Wally, which gives him a whole lot of depth as connection to the Speed Force, because now all of a sudden Barry's faster than him. You're taking on a character like that's been taken over by what we call the uncoiled. I say we, but I mean the stillness. And I'm like, it looks like we killed this thing. And I'm like, but wasn't that a guy like we had with the Indigo Streak or the Indigo Blur, whatever his name was? Like, wasn't he taken over? So did you just murder a man?
And then they mentioned the police that are in space bubbles, but they're not. And then you do this, and then you have Linda put on what might be either a Winston Churchill or possibly a W.C. Fields mask, which I wanted to go with, so she could just yell out she hates Philadelphia. But all that is just there. Some people just didn't even get past that mask. Like, why would she have this? I'm like, it's just him being jokey about the idea of identities, and they're in Britain, so why not? I'm like, I don't get it. I just don't know why. And even the reviewers, and you have, some of the sus reviewers that we talk about a lot, they'll give this like an 8, but their explanation is, I don't know what the hell's going on, but boy, it's really making me think. 8 out of 10.
Is it?
No.
It's making me think I want to read a different book.
At least at the point when we're talking about Detective Comics, I can at least get a thought in my mind of, okay, this is what he's doing. I don't get it. It's kind of like
of the mind. It doesn't matter. I don't really care, but I understand it's of the mind at least.
Each page of this book slaps you in the face of it's just like, who understands this besides him? And I don't even know if he does. And I keep going back to what he said legitimately in an interview. He said that they came to him and said, do you want to write Flash? He thought to himself, I'm really busy right now. I've never done this amount of books. I'm putting a big book like The Flash. That's not going to work. But he did not want to tell them no, because when you say flat out no, they stop asking you then. So he said, okay, and came up with the wackiest, stupidest, craziest scenario of a pitch. And they said yes. And it shocked them. And here we have it. We have it here. And I see how crazy it is, because it is crazy as shit, but not in a good way. This is like I said, when you end up where a Grant Morrison doing that, you will have crazy stuff, but it's within a thing that other things make sense to then, center on that. This is just straight out, just over the top. Just, I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it.
Of these putrid things that are coming through and taking over old London town, that Wally says it's not a big problem. Like, oh no, they were doing some bad shit. I had to take care of this being Barry Allen. And then we go off to take on one of the Uncoiled, while we still have the Stillness Overwatch and talking about, oh, we have one that obeys, how great, and stuff like that, because Barry's willing to do what the Stillness one, it seems like. It's like, like Jay West shows up. He's like, Dad, we got a problem. I was able to jump over here, but I didn't really want to talk to you, Dad. I want to talk to Uncle Barry, because I know you are doing, Dad Flash stuff, and
and then it came out more hurtful than that, when he shows up. And I thought we had that talk. Yeah, we did. But
talk about Jay not wanting to be a superhero when he grows up, but he still has this weird connection to the Speed Force, where he then has to take his family to his school, where everybody in the school has been stuck in time because time's bleeding, but also there are just ghosts roaming around the cafeteria. And I'm like,
just ghosts. And yeah. And then you play the idea, because then that's where Linda's there. And like, hey, I've kind of seen this before. I think they're in stasis. They'll be fine. They're not hurt. Mr. Terrific, please. Learn your
place.
He gets on the intercom. Oh, no. They're not. They're actually having an awful time right now. I just want to tell you that your daughter right now is going through complete hell. Mr. Terrific,
actually, no, Wally. My T-spheres are reading adrenaline, intense brain activity. I think this is an extremely traumatic experience for these kids.
Yeah. Mr. Cool. T, out. Thanks a lot, jerk. Like, the idea that, like, even then it would have been funny if Wally's like, yeah, I don't think that's true. And Wally, actually everybody in this, because we said that Jay, he'll jump through, like, some of his dialogue seems like he's a 50-year-old, physics professor, psychic professor.
The psychic professor, like with Professor X.
When we had these things going, like, one of the cool things could have been that Wally, he's not a dummy, but he's kind of that, regular schmo guy. And hey, you got to dumb it down for me. But but then he says out of nowhere, like, I'm a dummy. I don't know. But everything's just being thrown at you. And it's just, when you go to that schoolroom, and okay, it's not just enough that these school kids are frozen in stasis. Jay says, I think surrounded it's because of the way I do this. You surround them by ghosts of one of them looks like Zilius Zox out of that. Like, who are these ghosts? One looks like Constantine. You have them all going, I don't know what's happening. I still don't know why Jay had his shirt off down in the deal with this homunculi. What is going on? Oh, God.
Why are these words that we have to say for all these characters that I love in the Flash right now?
Sinister is mentioned like 3 times. I'm like, I don't want to say that word. So you have this going on of like, well, what is going on? And how? And then, they go sideways. Hey, I have this new sideways ability, but I didn't want to tell you.
Like, what is the point of this, where we have this going on in the cafeteria of the school, and then all of a sudden Wally's new power activates, where he's able to fucking jump sideways into the reality kind of thing, where we just see swirls of colors. And then there's that Eden over there where all your worries disappear, but we're not going to go there. We're just going to sideways back to a regular reality where, there's the Stillness. Hey, what's going on? Oh, he doesn't know what's going on. The answers are there, sentient organic. You need to merely ask. And it just goes to the idea, because what's going on with the Speed Force right now, and they're screwing it up. And it has something to do with all this work going on with the idea who's outfitting all these villains with alien tech to make them stronger. We saw Mr. Miracle and the folding man. But it just seems out of nowhere. It's like, oh yeah, and then Barry, he's connected to Eobard Thawne, and now he's going to try to kill you. And when that happens, we have to have this whole play. I mean, he gets these swirls around his eyes, like these rainbow swirls, where it almost looks like he's wearing a Dr. Hurt mask, actually, for how it looks.
Yeah, actually, I thought that too.
Where he's taken over by this thing while they're inside the Speed Force, where he then goes and stabs Wally to take him out of the picture. And somehow we're trying to tie it into the idea where you have all of this going on, and it's Eobard Thawne. I swear the only reason that this was put together like it is for the big reveal here is because Thawne's sounds like thorns. So, we're gonna have the crown of thorns. And I'm like, shut up, stop. And even the idea of trying to bring Eobard Thawne into the picture, I still need to know how this works. And I hope to God that Simon Spurrier talks about it, because as far as I'm concerned, whether you're a fan of Jeff Johns or Flashpoint or whatnot, when we had the Flashpoint Beyond going on, written by Jeff Johns, Tim Sheridan, and Jeremy Adams, in that story, it seemed like finally, after all this time, when Martha Wayne, the Joker, killed Eobard Thawne in this weird condensed timeline, this weird, outside of time little reality that Batman had created, that broke his paradox. So he was actually finally dead for the first time in fucking forever.
Now,
at this
he
point,
did start to vibrate after that, but we still thought that the paradox was stopped because he was killed. Then as he came back, he wouldn't have that paradox. And the paradox is he can pretty much jump around time, stuff, and he can't be killed.
It seemed like a big deal in that issue to talk about, like, the Time Masters, how the paradox has been destroyed, and, like, we never really dealt with it. But just bringing Eobard Thawne back here with this weird fucking sideways reality story, I'm just like, I don't know if this is the play. And the thing is, I'm really afraid they're not going to talk about him dying in Flashpoint Beyond.
I'm afraid that they will, and we won't even know they're doing it. I'm not even joking. At the end of this, like, I want to ask you, like, I can't say I hate the story. I hate that I don't understand this. I don't know what the story is. So the hate that I have for it, but I'm saying the hate that I have for it is that I don't know what the story is. I can't tell you, I don't like it because I think the stillness should be doing this or that or the other thing. I can't penetrate it because of how it is. So at the end, I just shrug my shoulders. I just end up like, I don't know what's happening. And it's too many issues now to even get that. Even like, and then some of this dialogue, like one of the things here, they're talking about how Linda and Wally are kind of like, a little bit standoffish with each other, and they're not explaining things. And it's like, they don't need to speak. The wife, the husband, they both know. Though it burns her so deeply, she could vomit magma. Though it scalds her mind. What are you talking about? Just tell me what you're saying. Don't sit there. It scalds her like she's vomiting magma. Now she's smelling cinnamon. And then she's wearing a fucking W.C. Fields or a Winston Churchill mask. These are all just nonsense bullshit that is on top of layers of other bullshit. And I don't know what's going on. So that's my frustration of it, is at the end of this, we'll probably get 12 issues. I won't even be able to tell you the littlest detail of what actually happened. It's just fucked up for fucked up's sake. And that's all I think it is.
Well, we have some back and forth. We have some back and forth. Irrelevant. He's isolated, wounded, doubting everything. Yes, just as required. Friends you have served with diligence. You have earned your allotted rewards and more besides. You have earned an explanation. Knowing that all you have done, the chaos, the erosion of pride, all has served to prepare our chosen weapon, the conduit, Wally West. Through him we shall send our warhead into the source of creation, our poisonous tangle of paradox and pain. Soon through the Flash we shall deploy a virus fit for a world where time stands still, the Corona Contrarium, and that goes into the Crown of Thorns.
But you know what you just... And in where I said at one point, you even have at the beginning, and just to point out, like, I get you said there's a little date thing, but this ends a trade. Like, this should be the end of that first trade. It's issue number 6. You should get out of this trade knowing what is going on. You don't. At one point, Wally says, hey, skip the Dungeon Master crap for 5 minutes. Tell me what the hell is going on. I'm with you. I want to know as well. Thank God. Oh, we just go back to bullshit. Even this, throw in prose on top of that, which you're already pretty much telling a lot of the things through narration. And then we get prose on like, why are you doing every step of the way to make what should be the fastest man alive the slowest read ever? That's all it is to me. And me saying, what the hell is blavulating? I don't even know if that's a word. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? Where you go? And I'm like,
it's right there. Whatever.
And so I'm really, the amount of metaphors and similes in this is overwhelming. And they all have a hint of cinnamon. Eric, at the end, there you go. I can make up shit too. But at the end, I'm just like, I don't know. The art at one point I thought was a little bit distracting. I actually don't mind it now. I can't get past the writing or the story that is being told. I think that really, if it'd be one of those things, somebody cracked the code. I swear to God, there's like 3 sentences of story that we've gotten since the beginning. It just keeps being retold in weird ways that I don't understand. Homunculi. Really? Like, this is what we have for the Flash. And I expect during something like, and there'll be people out there like, I think it's interesting, and that's fine. But usually at this point, you end up having like some, faction like, oh, you guys are idiots. We love it. I don't see anybody saying that. I see a lot of people confused. And in the deal, if this would be, Tom King comes to mind, some of the things he does. He has a certain way. He has fans, though, and they will defend it. Cy Spurrier really doesn't sell any issues. And yeah, people like his Hellblazer, his Constantine, but nobody is out there, manning the wall for Cy Spurrier. And then you do this. I think that he has to realize that he's just done fucked up. Like, there is nothing that I could say that would get anybody. If this is somebody's first Flash book, I guarantee it's their last that they haven't even gone, because there's nothing you could grab onto that you even understand. We thought that the worst thing was going to be, he's going to make the Speed Force wonky. Please, just do that. I don't even know what's going on.
Hey,
it's
Jim,
hard to even
Speed Force is still wonky.
Yeah. So is everything else, including my brain. I'm like, okay, some of the character designs pretty cool. I like that mask of Winston Churchill, right?
Yeah,
cigar going. You should have that. Even then, like, I like the way that it is like 2-dimensional on her face. Pretty cool. I'm looking at it like when I thought Jay would be like Jay. Okay, fine. But Jay is not Jay here. And also, like you said, then we don't have Max. That whole thing we still have to resolve. We don't have Impulse, but the Impulse that we got her, it's not Impulse. And even Irie, she's frozen, so that doesn't work. And behind her is the ghost of Robert Downey Jr. Maybe that's what it looks like.
Maybe
he's there. He's like, hey guys, like that. That's actually the Marvel DC crossover we never asked for. Ghost, Robert Downey Jr. and Cilia sucks and everything. Like, what does that mean? Is this that they moved the burial ground, but they put the school on it? I don't even know what it would mean. That the one looks like a real crypt keeper too.
I just imagine it's just the time is bleeding, the vibration of sideways is leaking through for this one sideways frequency that like is just ghost shit.
Yeah, and they're like coming through the windows, but they're not. I need them to start like yelling shit and stuff, like get some ghost shit going on and have their pants off. I don't know. Be cool. All of a sudden, Winston Churchill's pissed.
Jim.
He comes in, he's like, I want that mask back. I don't know. And then another ghost comes in. I hate Philadelphia. I hate kids in Philadelphia, I think is what he always said. Mr. Terrific comes in to be an asshole. The end. Right? It's, I don't know. What would you give this, Eric?
I would give this a 4 out of 10. I enjoy the art in this, and maybe
the art's
the
interesting,
idea of bringing Thawne back could be interesting, but just everything that we're doing right now is just a struggle to read at every page. It's very frustrating.
Now, everything feels like, again, like an evil AI. You put it in and say, write the most pretentious bullshit you've ever seen and don't explain stuff. All right, here you go. That's the thing when you say at the end, I'm so worried. The idea that even the simplest concept is not explained, and yet me and you both want to have why Thawne's here explained. And I think that by the end, if we said to Cy Spurrier, man, you didn't explain it, he'll say, oh, yeah, I did. And we wouldn't have even known it because it just gets pushed aside. It's so bad. I'm a 3 out of 10. I do like the art. I think the art threw me off a little at the beginning, but I think it's interesting. I think it's kind of cool, some of the wacky stuff in it. But the story, and I give credit to Mike Deodato, like he's really probably trying to struggle to even figure. Like I can imagine he's like, I don't even know what the fuck I'm supposed to write on this panel or draw because of what was explained. Like, should I have like a spice rack? Is that what we're talking about with the cinnamon? Like I can imagine the calls he sends to Cy Spurrier. Like, what the fuck do you mean by this? He's like, oh, all of those 5 pages of dialogue just meant they walked through a door. Okay, I got you. Through the door. There we are. But that's it for that book.
Just draw the characters that have some swirly shit behind them. It doesn't matter.
That's you want to give me a swirly? Well, not right now. But just draw that shit. Come on, get to it. And then he's like, all right, whatever. Give me my paycheck.
Weird science
is the revolution.